Now it is time to start getting the redux-saga library all set up. So we're going to go into my file where I have the Redux store being created. Yours might look similar. It depends on how you're all getting yours set up. But the way that I have mine set up is because I'm using middleware with Redux, which is a way of basically adjusting the requests that are going through your Redux actions before getting your responses back. I'm creating a store with this custom function here, which is applying the history, the browser history, the data, and then applying the middleware on top of all that. So it kind of sprinkles that stuff in there for you. So what we want to do is the only middleware that I am using right now is the Redux router, and then I also have the Redux dev tools installed as well. So we want to throw the redux-saga's middleware right on top of all that stuff. So how do we do it? First of all, we need to import the redux-saga middleware. So let's do import here. Import create saga middleware is the helper that comes packaged with redux-saga from redux-saga. There we go. And this is actually the default export, so we don't need these little curly braces. And we'll also need to import the root saga from our custom sagas folder. So this doesn't actually exist yet. Saga. This doesn't actually exist yet, so don't be worried about it quite yet. We will get to it coming up here in a minute. Now let's put our create saga middleware function to use and save it into a constant. So we will hit constant saga middleware equals create saga middleware, and now we have that saved to a constant. We can actually put it to use and insert it into our middleware array. So we're using Redux router middleware, and we also want to be using the new saga middleware that we just created. Last but not least, before we return the store, we will need to basically run the middleware. So the way that the Redux Saga works is it basically creates these listeners that will kind of dive in to any sort of calls or actions that you hook up to it, and always kind of run in the background and always be listening for those actions to be triggered. And when they are triggered, it will run through the code that you tell it to run through. So I know that might be a little bit confusing at first, but I think you'll start to understand once we actually start writing some of that code. So let's run that listener or those watchers in the background. And basically what we're going to do is use the saga middleware that we just created, and we're going to call a function called run. And we're going to pass it the root saga. So bear with me while I know that kind of seems like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense there, but we'll explain it here coming up. So we'll do a quick save, and now we have adjusted our store so that it is using the Saga's middleware. Great.